Welcome back to the channel. Everyone's talking, and I'm running late. So this episode is brought to you by EagleRider Motorcycle Rentals and Tours. Don't forget to check out 2LaneLIVE.com under the EagleRider tab to see how you can book a trip, save some money, and have a good time while you're at it. Boys, who the hell is here from Las Vegas, Nevada?
They've been here before, and they're here again.
Well, we've had Maggie on. Justin was kind of sitting in the corner being slapped upside the head a little bit. No. Yeah, we have some great people in studio. But before we get to that, Jesse Shaw, thank you for the Stone Brew. And Josh Herrera. We met him in Arizona Bike Week. He gave us traffic and police and also gave a challenge coin for each one of the guys.
So he sent this pretty quick.
Sent that really quick. So there you go, boys. And thank you, Josh, for your service and what you do for us.
See if I can focus on here.
Did he pull you over?
I don't know.
No, we were at Buffalo Chip and having lunch, and he walked up and said, I'd love to take a picture with you guys.
Josh, you're on the video. You're on both Thrashing and 2LaneLIVE.
Was that
video.
the one that came with his wife?
Yes.
At night?
No, when the rain, and we were under the covered patio just before we got
I remember.
lunch.
Wait, I thought it was the guy that showed up on the street in front of the coffee house. Never mind.
Anyway, so look, we've got some incredible people here and really became friends probably at the Yokin event, most likely. We met Maggie in Daytona and walked across the bridge and had a chat with her, but then met both of you, and you walked out of the room together, and I'm like, what? Yeah, you are together. So,
well, we knew Maggie a lot longer. She's been our
like
friend
6 months, right?
Way longer.
Go way back.
But,
way back.
Way back.
But we talked about kind of Maggie's story, last time, and you guys, where do they find you on Instagram? What's the boat? Give them all.
I'm at the Maggie Hicks.
And I'm the Warthog bike. Actually, just Warthog bike. There's no the.
There
Not
is.
that cool.
And then is there another one
Warthog
that's,
bike.
At Warthog Bike.
is there another one that you're going to talk about today?
Yeah. So our YouTube channel, which is The Way We Roam.
Okay.
The way we roam.
And
The way we
all
roam.
of their info is in the video description, their YouTube links, their Instagram links, the whole enchilada.
Yeah. And so if you haven't watched any of their Instagram stuff, you should go check it out because you've got badass street riding, you got badass ADV riding with both. And we wanted to bring you in today to talk a little bit about what your future's like and what you guys are jumping into and what you're seeing there. We'll talk a little bit about an event you were just at the last couple of days, but tell us what your new venture is and what you're planning to do there and give us a little background on that.
You ladies first.
Want me to jump into it? Well, it was filming Pan Americas when I was doing some work for Harley-Davidson that Justin was like, I put a deposit down on a Pan America in 2021.
Which she was like, don't buy a bike. This is the worst time for you to buy a bike. And I was like, okay.
You're like,
"I
but I want a bike."
But I want this bike. And then Justin's actually been the one that championed that bike ever since. I've put a lot of seat time in with it, but through the course of our relationship with Harley-Davidson, he's really been the go-to guy, and I just kind of got dragged into the ADV stuff. But yeah, we've been starting to build our YouTube channel based around all the crazy things that the Pan America can do.
But you do some crazy stuff yourself. I mean, you're on the bike, you're ripping around. I watch the videos. I'm like, gnarly.
Yeah, I think we definitely want to test it and see where this bike can take us, because there's a lot of places that we would not get to see any other way, which I think is the great thing about the Pan America. We've done a few adventures on when I was borrowing bikes, and it was like, man, this thing really is totally different from anything else. Like, I've done dirt bike riding, I've done a lot of cruising around the country, but this just opens up some of the most incredible places to explore. And oftentimes they're a little bit harder to get to.
Yeah, and I was a sports bike rider before I had a Pan America. I had a CBR 900, a Gixxer 1000, and then when she started riding on that bike, I was like, that's cool. Like, I like the idea that you can go off road. I can carry all my equipment because I'm a filmmaker. So I'm like, I can carry all my equipment, get ahead of everybody, maybe find a good perch to shoot down on them, but I had no idea what I was getting into when I bought the Pan America and what ADV really was. It was after buying the bike, and I went to an event for the backcountry discovery route. So it's this they have, I think, 14 or 15 of them now, and basically it's a nonprofit organization that comes up with a dirt route that you can ride through pretty much entirely through a state off-road. And I went to, like, the first event I went to was their premiere for one of their films, and then it was like, whoa, this is cool, and there's a whole other world out there.
So you weren't on dirt before that?
I mean, I grew up on a farm for a little bit, and we had dirt bikes, but it was just kind of grabbed it, went in the backyard, ripped around through the forest, but I never really learned how to ride.
Well, the same for me. I mean, we did a lot of dirt bike riding growing up, and the first time we took them out, I was thoroughly impressed with how it handled that bike being that heavy, what you can actually do with it. And for me, it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But I can't imagine, because we haven't done it since, and we need to do it again. But I think the versatility of, like, I'd love to do an Alaska trip where you can run up the highway if you need to, but then get up into Denali somewhere and get in the backcountry. I mean, it just brings that much, diversity to it. And we were saying at the time, if we owned another bike, we'd probably have that bike in the garage and have a pair of 50/50s and a pair of street tires and just rip it, do soft bags instead of the
hard
cases.
How long have you been on the Pan America?
Since 21.
So in that amount of time, you've gone a lot of places. You both have done a lot of dirt stuff.
I probably have like 50,000 miles on a Pan
Wow.
America now. And then some of that is India,
Yeah.
New Zealand. I just did New Zealand, all over the Southwest.
It just really changes the way you can plan adventures. Like you
Right.
said, Alaska on that road, on a road glide, people have done it, I'm sure. But like,
Right.
is it going to be the best vehicle suited for that?
Right.
Maybe not. But when you have that bike and you know what it's capable of and get to taste that, you're like, man, I'm like completely rethinking how I want to travel. India was on my bucket list, and to go ride to the Taj Mahal in Pan Americas, that was pretty cool. So like thinking in those terms, all the things that we do now, especially because we're both on them, we both have Pan America.
I mean, there's so many times where we're doing road trips, we're driving down the highway, and it's either on a bike or in the truck or whatever, and we're looking off to the side and we're like, man, that looks like a Pan America road right there, and it's like some crazy 2-track going up the side of a mountain, and who knows where it goes to. But still, when you're on a Pan America, it's like, well, let's find out.
We're flying into New Mexico. When we were flying into New Mexico, we were looking down.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
That's
there's
a Pan
probably
Am
some
road.
good Pan Am roads. Like, wonder if Yokin will come ride with us.
Yeah, right.
I look at those roads and say that's a good road glide road or
There you
street
go.
glide.
Yeah.
Got some
We think
stories on
that
that.
too.
Yeah. For sure. I definitely was taking my cruiser down
Excuse me.
some places. I really liked moto camping. That was something that I really liked doing before, and I would get in some sticky situations with my cruiser. And then this bike, getting on it, I was like, this makes more sense now.
For me, a Pan America is like something I could have and ride to Sturgis.
Mhm.
And if I see a dirt road, I could take it. But I'm not into getting on the single track and over the mountain, only because of the skill level.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, you probably wouldn't want that bike necessarily on a single track, but you could. But it's
And that's the thing is you could, and it's all comes down to seat time with any bike.
Right.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
people who look at road glides and they're like, I can't ride that.
right.
But if you're putting in the time and the seat time, you're getting the experience. The nice thing about ADV is there's courses.
you
There's
guys love
courses.
riding road glides. I've seen you both.
Yeah.
I do. I
Do
actually,
love
honestly, if I could put another bike in the garage, it'd be a road glide.
Same.
Yeah.
So, like, what's this channel going to be like? You're starting a YouTube channel. You've got a website cooking. What's your 2-year? What are you thinking?
we're 2-track life.
Yeah.
You're like, who are you guys?
Yeah. I don't know who you guys are, but we're 2-track life. I think to kind of cover like what we're going to be talking about on the channel is like, so both of us are pretty new to ADV. And, I think coming from that perspective, we're trying to impart on people what we've learned along the way. And there's a lot of hard lessons,
Yeah.
and, just stuff that it's like over time you learn. It's like the first time I went out and did a camping trip, dude, I had the kitchen sink with me, like I was way overpacked, and now it's like, and some of this is because I'm dating the ultimate wanderer, and you know,
Minimalist,
yeah,
I
the
think.
absolute minimalist. So it's like, I remember I edited a video on her a couple of years ago, and she's like talking about what she packed, and it's like I packed 1 pair of pants and 1 t-shirt and 7 pairs of underwear because they're 7 days. I was like, all right, phew.
And socks.
It's not a total dirtbag. Yeah,
1 pair of socks.
1 pair of socks. Yeah, yeah, but still, it's like, all right, like that's interesting, you know. Like I'm such like I feel like I'm the diva between the two. Of
No
us.
blow dryer.
Yeah, right.
The wind.
The
Remember,
wind,
that's why we ride.
Yeah,
it is.
They're dry.
There's a song that.
But
That's why we
Yeah.
write.
the YouTube channel is sort of combination of us talking about gear and stuff that we've learned about. Another thing is our rider's guide. That's kind of the core of it. Tonight we actually have one that's going out, and that's like us just sharing some cool routes that are around Vegas. So the idea that we have is that we want to inspire people to be able to do something in a weekend. Like a lot of people go out and they buy these big ADV bikes because they watch something like Long Way Round or Long Way Up or whatever. And that's super cool. And I think it's something great to aspire to. But the reality is, how many people can take 6 months off to go do some long trek like that? Like,
Right.
I can't even, you know, we can't even. That's a lot of time to take off. But to be able to do something in a weekend,
Right.
you know, and take your bike out and go camping somewhere. And, you know, for us, like, it became pretty apparent that, you know, Vegas is centrally located in some of the best riding in the country and arguably the world. You know, like now having traveled to a couple of different places, like we really do have such a great like assortment of riding between Death Valley and Arizona and Utah and Nevada itself that
In California.
and California. Yeah. That like really, I mean, we can make episodes for quite a while, just like in our backyard.
Well, our first episode, we were up at Mount Charleston.
Yeah.
And we didn't
Yeah.
know that even really existed.
Right.
Yeah.
That was our first drop. And we're like, and it was snow,
Yeah.
you know, so for some reason we find the snow. I don't know why, but it was like, wow, I didn't realize this is like 40 minutes or an hour outside of Vegas and you're up in the pines.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got a lot of great access points to, I mean, southern Utah, northern Arizona. I mean, like you said, Vegas and up towards Reno. I don't know if you've been up that direction, but there's just
we're making, I mean, kind of, but we haven't really ridden up that
Yeah.
way. And there's a lot of cool stuff.
right. So the rider's guide is something that's maybe a little more local, or will it be long rides too?
I mean, hopefully the goal is that we build it up big enough in our area and then just sort of expand, you know, to hot spots to be able to go ride and come up with some routes that so far I keep coming up with routes. And every time Maggie's like, why are we doing this? This is
Well, I was going to ask that next.
Yeah.
Are they rated? Like, is it novice to?
We like to talk through what we're doing, and we try to give tips into things that it's like, if you don't have skill in this, this is something you're going to come into on this. Things
Right.
like gravel or deep sand. We got a lot of deep sand out near Vegas. So
You need to know that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we share those things, and we say, like, if you haven't, you know, done this before, you may want to go get a little bit more experience before tackling this, because there's a good chunk of it that has it. And we try to mark that stuff. So we're sharing the roots to what we're doing, but we try to talk through it. Our first episode, we definitely had a pavement route that we shared as well. Where it's like, if you don't want to tackle this gnarly stuff we just did, you can still go see these beautiful waypoints and just hit the pavement, because you can do both on the Pan America. And even people who are on cruisers can do some of that stuff. But I think what's important about what we're doing is we are new. We are relatively new to this. We are gaining a lot of experience really fast because we're taking the seat time, but we're just like, you know, compressing our story a little bit and sharing that with people, where it's like our journey's going really fast. We're doing a lot of training. There's stuff that we straight up will say, like, if you don't have any training, you know, you shouldn't tackle something like this. And who we partner with for those things is really important as well too. We have gotten so much out of it. And then the gear stuff for sure is like, you know, the first time Justin went out camping, he had a leather Harley jacket on and a not so great helmet. And, you know, like,
I was like, I will never look like a Power Ranger. And
yeah.
Here I am, like the Power Ranger with a neon helmet.
helmet.
So you can't, that's the difference in street. Like we can just get in our street clothes, pair of boots and a helmet, and like you go.
Yeah.
You guys need full gear.
I mean, I feel like when it comes to street riding, there's definitely a big cool factor. You know what I mean? Like on leader bikes, on Harleys, like there's just a cool factor. You know what I mean? But when it comes to off-road, like you're just really putting yourself at in more dangerous situations. And so like now safety sort of starts to paramount over looking cool or whatever. And the other thing too is like comfort. You know what I mean? Like that when I first went out, I was like, I'm never wearing one of those Power Ranger outfits. You know what I mean? Like they call it the Gore-Tex Vortex.
Danger Dan calls
calls it the Gore-Tex Vortex. But yeah, you know, so
Danger
like,
Dan doesn't wear that stuff,
oh
right?
hell no.
Nah.
Yeah, definitely not.
Doesn't match his flames.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure his like jackets and everything are just so dirty that they're water repellent.
Yeah.
Anyway, love you, Danger Dan. But yeah, so the Gore-Tex Vortex, like, you know, after going out there a few times, like, man, as soon as you go from pavement where you're going 70, 80 miles an hour and you're cold to the dirt, like now you're only going 25, maybe up to 40 miles an hour, and it gets hot. You're working. Your body's like on overdrive, right? So you need all these like pockets to open up and vents, and because you're making these quick transitions from something that's slow to something that's fast, and then all of a sudden you're 5,000 feet elevation. I mean, we got stuck in the snow recently. Speaking of snow, so it's just
I saw that.
Yeah. So
and on our channel you'll get to see all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweating. We run into snow on passes. We're in hot springs. We're chucking our bikes through some rock.
I'm dropping my
stuff.
bike all the time.
People want to
Justin
see that though,
Maggie's not.
and they want to know.
Dude, I don't. Sometimes we go through things and I'm like, how did you just do that sitting down?
Well, I just saw your video today, and you're riding on Instagram, and you're like, all
I
right,
got
we're gonna
this.
cross here. We go here. I'll go first. I got this. You get in there, and like within seconds, you're down in the water.
So when you watch our episode, if you watch our episode, the guy who's with us, he's like, I've never seen a bike go down so quickly.
Yeah, I
So
thought what happened. That's
Accurate.
about, you know,
Yeah,
just
it happened quick.
You're talking about the gear. It brings me back to a time when I was first riding and how stupid I was. Like I had an Enduro 175 that I took the front fender off and mounted a motocross fender on, so at least it felt like it was a motocross bike.
Yeah.
I'd be in my shorts, no helmet, with my buddy on the back, no helmet, doing jumps.
That was back when you were invincible.
We were stupid.
Yeah, right.
you didn't know back then. No one knew better.
No one knew better.
Well, I'm sure they did. They had helmets.
I know, but
Like-
the backyard guys were, you know,
We just rocked it.
I think
Yeah.
we're all guilty of that, though. I can say even when I got into riding, I started in 2015. I was riding in Southeast Asia, and it was like, you don't even put shoes on to go to the beach and jump on your dirt bike. And like, if you were real savvy, you put little fake grass on your pegs, you know? So it
Right.
felt like you were on the grass riding down to the beach. And it's like, you got your dirt bike with the surfboard rack on it, and you cruise down, and
You're
you're
there.
already in your surfing gear, ready to go. When I lived in Bali, and like, you see enough accidents, you see enough people with really bad injuries not wearing the helmets
Yeah.
because there's all that traffic over there. And I think it takes time to realize the value of safety. We do start from that place. We're lucky enough to have started riding young enough that we saw all those things happen. And now I like that we get wiser as we become
you never know.
better
A
riders.
friend of mine, his brother washed his dirt bike. This is 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Got on it, wanted to rip down the street just to dry it off. Burp, burp. His baseball cap went like this. He went like this to grab his hat to catch it, slid out into the curb, hit his head, dead.
Oh,
Damn, dude.
So it
But
can happen.
But I also think that
yeah. When you're least expecting
Yeah.
is when it does happen.
Yeah.
Though. That's the thing.
I think
It's
the
like-
wiser part's probably the smarter part, right? Like, and you think about it too, like it's probably a little bit more risky on the street just because all the different cars that could impact you. But think about if you're in the backcountry somewhere and all of a sudden you come off the bike and you don't have a helmet on. And I mean, you've got all the rock structures, all the things you have to worry about. You were talking about injuries from ADVs
Clavicle.
or really the
Yeah.
clavicle a lot.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what's cool about
Legs.
the ADV crew, though. Like in that audience, it is more safety savvy. They are more into the gear. Like the cool guys have all the gear.
Right.
The cool guys are rocking the latest technologies. And like even in street riding, there's been airbags for a while.
Yeah.
But now that we have access to the new Alpine Stars Tech Air off-road stuff, like that
Not riding without
technology is
it.
insane. And
Yeah.
we're not riding without it because we have had a few friends break their collarbones in the last month or so.
We had some dude this weekend break his.
Yep.
Well, even Kyle Wyman said he won't climb on a bike without it.
Yeah.
And he's riding the street or whatever. He
Mhm.
won't get on the bike. So
And the technology's there. It's just about people like championing it. And for
Yeah.
a lot of people that have been riding for a long time, as quickly as it the new technology is coming out. It's like bad habits die hard. Like
Yeah.
Even
Well,
try
I
to
tell you,
convince
we
people to wear
tried the
helmets.
Tech Air. Was it the 5 or the 7 that we got last year?
I thought it was a 3.
Was
was
it
a
the
3 and 5.
Yeah, it was the
The
vest
3.
before they made them kind of like stylish as they did a couple months ago with the leather.
The leather. Those are
Yeah.
cool.
While
looking.
I'm
Those
on
look real cool.
camera, shout out to Ralph, a.k.a. SoCal Squatch, for a little donation to the Keg Fund.
Nice.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, the Tech Airs were cool. We spent a little bit of time in them. I'd like to try out the new one. 'cause
We're
it's
gonna get
nice.
some new ones, but for me, it felt like I got weird on the first couple rides because I was
Yeah.
like, it's just
Gonna
like
go
I'm
off.
turning. Is it gonna go? But no, I mean they're. Although
Technology's
his
there.
did go off.
That was an accident. I didn't read the instructions, but what I liked about those was that you could, on the street, you could wear a hoodie and wear that under or over the hoodie, and you don't even know it's there. So you feel
Right.
like you're just wearing clothes, but you're
Yeah.
better off wearing that than probably a leather vest with a CE pad in there. So it's kind of nice.
I
you
mean,
know?
people here, especially in California, I don't know about it anywhere else. They get on their Harleys on the street, and they're worried about safety, maybe not, and so many of them have Van tennis shoes on,
Yeah.
which is the worst thing you can wear because if
Totally.
you go down,
That
you're gonna
thing's
be barefoot.
gone.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Smoked.
Shout out to Riding with Yogurt, the
What?
ADV. You didn't have to do that, dude.
Nice.
That's the donation of a lifetime. Thanks,
you
brother.
go.
Appreciate you.
He's on a KTM.
The other
Hell
day,
yeah.
the other day I
That's
was
awesome.
riding down Valley Circle and Yogurt pulled up. I was on Lance's ST, and Shannon pulled them next to me on his ADV at the
Nice.
light, and hey, what's up? And all of a sudden he just goes up and pops
Yeah.
a really fast away.
Yeah.
So this is funny because this guy for the last 10 years has worn band shoes on his Harley.
Yeah.
I wised up.
But I think he's gotten older, so he's gotten wiser.
I think,
Wisdom.
okay, hold, here's
Wisdom's
the
coming.
best story. So first of all, I have to say, Josh told we did a little video, and it will be out probably in a few weeks, but we did a video on the Tech Air 3 and 5. And the whole time, Josh had told us his story about what happened and how his went off, which he was just taking off his jacket or whatever. So the whole time we're doing this review and wearing it on a road trip, we're freaked out.
Yeah.
Just like you, right?
Yeah.
So it was just like, and then I had to be like, well, Maggie, the thing is, I think they upgraded the firmware on the thing, so it's not doing that. But every time it was like, you know, like just super.
well, he
freaked out.
threw his shoulder.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Threw your jacket off, right?
Basically,
Before
it uses accelerometers
Right.
and it knows what's normal on
Yeah.
a motorcycle, knows what's not, even on dirt, jumping and all that. They've tested it. But what I did was it was 100 something degrees. I unzipped it while simultaneously doing take a vest off and flip it
Yeah.
out. And that weird
You have a
motion.
little
It
magnetic
was still
thing.
engaged.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
magnetic thing, it takes 5 seconds. So you got to unzip it, wait, and then take it off. And
Yeah.
it went off, and there's a chick next to me on the other pump, and her kids were getting out of the car, and I see her just go and like grab her kids. She goes down with a
She a chick or
gunshot.
was she a woman or
She
a
was a
lady?
lovely woman,
Okay.
not a chick.
There was chickens at the gas station. What did you say?
But you know, and we used to ride with, like, I had a bucket helmet and
Yeah.
he had a 3/4 and,
Yeah,
and
buddy.
we went to full face. And so you were at an event the last couple of days with this great company here, a right?
Right.
What took you there? What do you think about this helmet they've come out with? Because that's another safety thing, right? And we sell those at 2LaneLIVE.com, Arise there, and also they will be selling them on their
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
them on our website. So, I mean, do you want to go first?
I mean, take it away. You
Okay. Arai helmets. I mean, it's super interesting because I feel like the further I've gotten into this whole world of ADV and, you know, now protection really is something that I feel like, you know, it's like, yeah, I've always been the gear nerd between the two of us. But now, like, yeah, like you were saying, what happens when you're out in the middle of nowhere? You know, like you really need the best protection you possibly can have because getting an ambulance, and I've seen this firsthand now a couple times, getting rescue, getting ambulance, it's not easy. You know, every time that anything bad has happened, pretty much for me, we've been about as far away from the main civilization in either direction as we could be.
Well, we all got to experience that with
Oh,
Rand.
right.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys
Ambulance,
know. Yeah.
ice, far away, you know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we were way closer than what he's talking
Yes,
about.
but
Yeah,
still
so-
far enough away.
But anyway, Arai, I think the thing that was really interesting that we learned this weekend. So we were at a press release event. This is their new XT5 helmet. We've been rocking the XT4s for a couple of years. We actually, first time we wore them was in Bali, Indonesia.
Mhm.
And this is their adventure helmet. And the big thing is that they haven't actually updated the XT4 for 10 years.
Really?
And the reason that they haven't is because, first of all, they're not chasing fashion. Their thing is protection. That's the number one, their motive for their entire company, right? Mr. Arai, like that's all he cares about is making the most protective helmet they can. And, you know, so this helmet is actually an evolution at this point. They've finally had enough advances and everything that they're like, you know what, now is time to upgrade the helmet because we can make it better than what we had before. The XT4 was so good that it blows, like they have their own, I guess, like performance and testing and all that for the protection of their helmets that is not based on DOT or Snell. They have to pass DOT and Snell, but they surpass all the requirements. They blow past it. And they really are the leaders in the industry when it comes to protection. So this helmet is an evolution of an XT4 that they just didn't have to upgrade because it was so good already. And some of the nice features, at least with this new one, is they didn't make these mirrored windscreens or the visors. That's a new little fashion thing that they finally have rolled in because people do want that stuff. But really the cool thing is actually how quickly you can convert this helmet into a, this can go into like a, I gotta open this first. But this thing can go into taking the peak off and then popping the visor off. And now you can we can put the peak back on. And this is quick, by the way. The other one you had to use like
tools
to do this. So now you can just see if I got it. I just got this thing, so go easy on me, guys. But
Thrash him in the comments.
yeah, don't kill me, guys.
So do
That
you
looks so
like
difficult.
riding with just goggles?
Yeah, when you're off road, I mean, just
And the
ventilation and the dust.
We get a
That's the
lot
big
of
thing.
dust, and that's the thing that this really is nice to have.
Feels around your face, and now we're in full dirt mode. This thing,
Pull that thing closer to you.
yeah,
A little
well,
bit.
there we go.
Hold it up to your
You are
face.
getting wrecked in the comments. Okay. Nice.
Look at
that.
that.
What's that thing on the left side of it? I think those are available at 2LaneLIVE.com. Yeah. the
And I
cargo.
think they sell them as well.
Cardo.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so the nice thing about this new helmet is that they opened up this port here, and now the goggles fit really well in there. It's super comfortable. The ventilation on this helmet has been improved by quite a bit.
Well, the fitment too that you were talking about. I mean, you can really kind of dial it in, and you've also got the ear molds where you can put your speaker, your comms
So
in.
they've made these now so that you can put comms in,
Yeah.
which is great.
And they have this where you can take it off and attach it to your cowboy hat.
Yeah. Look like a cowboy stormtrooper.
What is
Yeah.
this on the side? It said something about emergency release. I just saw.
So I think that most helmets have that.
Oh, it's for the
Yeah, that's
To
just
pull
a,
the pads out.
They
yeah.
just
Once
pull the pad.
Okay.
I think this has become a standard thing. I never asked.
It's like
about that.
EMTs. You can kind of yank out the
Quickly
pads.
pull it
they don't
out
have to-
without-
So the SRTs don't have that
No.
because you've got this, but the Race Star does have that. So they just pull them.
And we
But-
gotta-
Some of these things though are very like cosmetic, the upgrades that they did, and they listen to people and they're tending to people's need for the next newest thing. But the best thing about it is that the helmet's gotten rounder. It's going to have more an egg shape. And when you hit the ground, you glance off stuff. If anything hits your head will move and glance off of it because rounder, smoother equals stronger with them. So that's the biggest technology that isn't the flashy things on the outside. They're just getting more solid underneath.
Well, I watched a couple of videos on them when we were putting them up on the website, and I was very impressed with what they've been doing and the handcrafting and quality into the shells and the pads. And that's why we put them on our website. Is they're a bit more expensive than some helmets, but I mean,
The guy who's made its name, isn't it?
So each
Who
shell,
made the shell?
each shell is
single helmet.
handmade, and the guy who makes the shell or gal
They
who makes
hand sign
it,
them?
they hand sign it.
Yeah.
I
you
didn't
can-
see that.
If you have a 30-year-old Arai, which you probably shouldn't have one that old, but
Yeah.
just replace them after 5 years.
Yeah.
It could
But
be up on the shelf.
that's
somewhere.
true. It could be
Yeah.
up on the shelf, but you can figure out who actually made the shell of your helmet.
And if you subscribe to our channel,
What's the channel?
the way we roam,
What?
The Way We
The Way
Roam.
We Roam.
So your channel is The Way We Roam.
Yeah.
And
I think it's The Way We Roam.
So you roam
Yeah.
that way?
That's how we roam.
This is
All
how
right.
we roam.
That's the way we
So if
roam.
you go to The Way We Roam,
We're going to put a video up that talks about fitment and some of those more features of this. We're going to
Yep.
explain a lot of that stuff. Like
We'll
really
show the press release.
Yeah, we'll show a little bit about the event that we had, but we'll do a little deeper dive into this helmet and why we're not going to wear
Anything else?
when it comes
And
to
by the
AV
way,
helmets.
Shoei, I have to say this because I thought this was really interesting. So Shoei used to supply the materials to make helmets for Arai. And then at some point they figured out they could make their own helmets. And then some disgruntled guy
Makes
who
the
worked
shells.
at the Arai factory and made the shells, which that's where the real bread and butter is on these things, left and went to Shoei. So that's why Shoei went from being a company that made okay helmets to pretty damn good helmets, because they got to jump a few generations of all the development because of the disgruntled guy who came over. So
Fun
not
story.
hating on Shoei.
Yeah.
Sure, there's some new people there since that happened, but
And they're still great helmets.
and they're still
because
they're almost as good as an Arai.
I mean, the business world can be very spicy out there.
Yeah.
I know,
For sure.
dude, for sure.
sometimes the motorcycle community can be able to be
Yeah.
spicy.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure too.
Speaking of that, so you got a hat on your head. It's a very illegal hat
Why is it
to be
illegal?
out in the public.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Where'd you get that hat?
From Harley-Davidson, obviously.
What'd you do to get that hat?
Do I have to talk about that on air?
No.
Who are you guys?
I mean,
Yeah,
you're,
by the
you're,
way, who are you
That's
guys?
you are
appropriate story
publicly
for this
showing
show.
your hat.
I work with the demo team, the Harley-Davidson demo team, a bunch. So I go out and film and photograph the Pan Americas out in the wild. Did something that's coming out the 18th. Pretty sweet. Some backcountry discovery routes with some pretty wild guys. I've kind of like coming up through this. It's like one of the first things that I wanted to do when I started riding the Pan America was I was like, well, okay, cool. I can pack all my gear on here, but I also want to just become the guy who's the guy who goes out and does the ADV stuff and photographs it and films it. You know, like when before I was doing motorcycles, I was doing sailing, and I became the guy who could do that really well. And, you know, the same kind of transition happened into motorcycles where I was like, I want to be the niche dude who goes out, does these crazy expeditions and films and photographs it, you know, not just because, you know, I can photograph and film well, but because I do this, I live the life, you know?
That's great. So that hat's pretty clean.
Yeah.
Like you keep it clean, or do you have
Put
a
it in
couple
the
of them?
top case.
This also might be the second.
Yeah.
If somebody's riding through New Zealand and just so happens to find a hat that looks like this, I accidentally left it there on the trail somewhere.
Oh.
You're welcome.
But I think, and I don't follow a lot of the ADV stuff, but the stuff that I've seen that you've let us see pre and even post, I think there is some similarity to what we're doing, which is you want to show different places in the country, in your state, that people can go ride. This ride map kind of thing is really kind of cool. And then what I saw also is this ability to be out in the open and a campsite, and there's a fire going, and you're grabbing a little bit of grub, and you got the tent set up, and you can really showcase that and tell that story. We get people to, are you guys going to go camping ever again? We did one video and it did really well, or two videos, but it was like, it was a camping thing. And so I think you're onto something here where you can really showcase the beauty of, we're showcasing like the beauty of small towns.
Yeah.
You're showcasing the bluff or the butte or the meadow or the forest, or, I mean, I
would say like what we do is the overland of motorcycles.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the crossover that's kind of interesting. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people during the pandemic that was like, I'm going for it. I'm doing the van life thing, you know, and like, but I don't think a lot of people know necessarily about what this is, which, you know, it's kind of the lightweight version of doing van life, but there's just you can cover so much more ground. You know, like, for example, Maggie and I, a couple of years ago, or a year ago or whatever, we went to Tora Weep on the Grand Canyon, and it was an awesome trip. But the thing is, like, getting out there was all this like washboard road. And we had some dude tell us like, oh yeah, I did that in my Jeep. It took me 5 hours. because it was all washboard. It's just like, the whole time. And he's got his like 80-year-old mom with him or something like that. And so he just didn't want to rattle her to pieces.
I mean,
so,
that was nice that he took his mom.
I know, that's pretty cool.
Well, we hammered down at 60 miles an hour.
We hammered down at 60 miles an hour, we
standing on our bikes.
Through that thing. So there's a couple different modes on the Pan America. And off-road versus off-road plus. Off-road it has a lot more travel in the suspension. It's a lot smoother. So going over washboard, when you hit the right speed, you don't even feel the washboard.
Well, we did washboard on the Joshua Tree trip on our road glides. And
Yeah. Sketchy.
Yeah.
That's when you put the drink in the shaker and throw it in the bags.
The new road glides have different modes.
Yes.
I don't think it has off-road or off-road plus, but maybe we could talk to Jochen about that.
But anyway, so I think like our idea of when we would go on these trips, we'd put a blog together and put a map and then people could see where you went. They could stop at the restaurants. Now, I think the ADV world's probably a little better at like ride, but you try to find rides around the States and it's hard to find like
totally
good Harley rides for people. And so that was one of our kind of like, let's get roads out there in front of people as well.
Definitely. It makes it like if you're going to inspire people to do it, you got to also hand them a little bit of the tools to do it as well too. So we do all our maps in Onyx, Onyx Off-Road, which is pretty popular for overlanding. They haven't quite made the ADV
we've been talking to
rating for
like,
things.
can you guys put a little ADV icon in there?
Yeah, but we're doing all our maps in there so people can download those if they get a premium subscription. Like it helps them get access to everything that we're doing. We want to share that journey. If you check out our website, wayweroam.com. That one is where we tell a little bit more of that story. Justin takes beautiful photos. I like taking photos. We share more pictures from what we're doing because everything's video on YouTube, but we do like to stop and take photos. And that's still something that's very much how we remember places and share memories. So we're sharing that stuff on the website. We're sharing the routes. And then
the routes are on the website.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We actually got an email the other day that someone wanted to interest us in his custom trailers for Harleys where you can camp.
Oh,
open
that's
them up.
cool.
That's
we're
cool.
talking to somebody too about that. We're like, hey, listen, we need something we can take the bikes in and camp on the top. Because the big thing is like, obviously, I don't know, there's a few different factions out there in the ADV world, right? And then a lot of people are like, no, die hard, you got to ride up to where you're going. But the thing is, like, the nice thing about going, like New Zealand, for example, we were able to crush some crazy miles or kilometers. And the key to that was the fact that we could ride on the road, get down to the dirt sections, ride the dirt sections, then get back on the asphalt again, crush some more kilometers, and and then jump on the off-road again. But in the United States, like, dude, the entire New Zealand is the size of California. Right? So like it was cool there to be able to crush that. But like for us here, it's like we're gonna go up to South Dakota. Well, why would we suffer riding all the way up to South Dakota on the highway? And we've done it a bunch.
We've done it a ton of times, but I think
and
more.
kill our tires,
Didn't you ride to Sturgis one year on Pan America?
Yeah, we did.
Yep, a few times.
Yeah. But then, so the thing is, it's nice to sometimes trailer your bike up there and then camp, bring the bikes, be able to ride the dirt, and then, crush the miles back and all that. But we still hit the asphalt. It's not like it's always 100%.
But also check our channel. You're going to see some of the things. We really like rocks. If you check our channel, you'll see some of the things that we want to go push these bikes through. It is a little bit easier to trailer them to that location because we do have some really cool spots we want to go explore, but we don't know what will happen on the trail. Some things happen, and having the ability to load the bikes back up, get them back, get them serviced, all of that stuff can be really helpful. But we have gone on trails, even gnarly ones, where at the end, there's pavement. There's a lot of pavement at the end to get back to where we started.
Going,
So like having the ability to do both is really nice.
It's really nice.
I mean, I do you.
Yeah, totally.
Like if it's we call it 2-lane life, but oftentimes it takes us 4 lanes to get to the 2 lanes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or the work we do with EagleRider. We can't be gone. Like we're going to be gone 21 days in the month of July and August. And that's going to be the longest time we've been out of the shop. But
ever.
But like last year, Canada trip, this year, Philly, we're flying in, we're taking the bikes from EagleRider and we're going, and we still get great content.
Yeah.
It's just a different bike. And it, but so if you guys need to get somewhere that's going to be great and it can drive there
Well, I
and
think it'd be-
have the comfort at the end of the trip saying I can trailer this thing home if we broke it.
Yep. No, I think what I was getting at though is I think it'd be cool to have a trailer. You can trailer the bikes and still have that pop-up tent. You know, like there's
Yeah.
been times where we've driven for like 14 hours. By the time we get to wherever we're going, it's dark. You know, so it's nice to have something that's like a clamshell pop-up. You know what I mean? And if you're out riding all day, and like there's been plenty of times where we've gone off the grid and we're sleeping in a tent. She sleeps like a baby.
I like camping.
I don't sleep as well, but I do love doing that. You know what I mean? But I also sometimes there's just times where it's like it's nice to come back and have something a little bit more comfortable to sleep in, and you know, and then go rip the next day and check out some cool rides from a hub.
So if you own Ford, GM, Sprinter, Mercedes, get a hold of them. They need a rig.
And me. That'd be nice.
Also, we do
And
need a
us.
sponsor for a ASMR camping video.
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, lots of farts probably.
Welcome back to the channel. It's Justin Edelman. And tonight we're gonna do ASMR farts.
Onlypans.com.
Check out our OnlyPins.
OnlyPans.
So what's kind of the thought process in the number of, are you dropping every week or what's your, because I know just like with us, we got started and it's like, holy shit, there's more to do here than we thought. And we just put something out 2 months ago. We hit our 200th Wednesday in a row, and we've done more than 200 because we did Fridays and some Mondays and whatever, but we did 200 Mondays in a row, and or Wednesdays in a row, and we've even done more since.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably at 220 because that was the end of the year.
Yeah, there was almost, I think, like 300 uploads.
3 total. But every Wednesday.
And we're
Yeah,
learning and
since-
learning every.
Yeah.
We're never not learning.
So are you dropping every week,
Thursday.
every Thursday?
Yep. We watch your live and then we drop.
So we have Thrashing on Tuesdays, us on Wednesdays, us again on Thursdays for this, and then you on Thursdays. So
At 6
people
p.m.
pretty much have no excuse not to.
Yeah,
Live on
watch
YouTube.
it.
yeah, exactly.
See some cool
So
stories.
say that again, 6 p.m. what?
6
Mountain
p.m.
Standard or Pacific?
Standard.
Pacific Standard Time.
6 p.m.
And yeah, we're going to stick to one a week.
Yep.
And we're posting shorts all the time because we already have years of filming and
Right.
hanging out on these bikes. So that's kind of where we're playing with shorts. We've got a lot to learn about this, and we're playing with what works for our audience, what you guys want to see. We always take comments. We want to hear feedback on all of this
We're
stuff.
also in that phase of kind of testing things out. Like tonight's
Yeah.
episode, if people have been following along on our stuff, you've seen our stuff has been pretty polished. We've had people helping us film. I have buddies who are like, dude, I want to go film motorcycles, you know. But this episode tonight is way more vloggy. We shot it, and you know, so we're just trying to see what works. Like tonight's is kind of like a more organic one, and
People like that.
yeah, we'll see how it goes, you know.
And our long-term goals is like, we aren't doing this full time. I mean, it feels like over full time
Right.
because we do other things as well too.
We both have jobs.
Yeah, we both work for an amazing dealership, Red Rock Harley-Davidson in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that is,
So how do you find the time?
it's a great community. I know, right? That's a good question.
Really late nights.
He's like, do we get a day off? We don't get a day off.
Yeah,
like
no.
it is go, go, go. Then you get home from the job and you're up until 9 p.m. at night
Totally.
working, and then you try to spend an hour decompressing, and you
We
know,
were driving out to the Arai press release event. I'm sitting there in the car. I have my iPad and my laptop, and it's plugged into the car, and I'm editing this episode for tonight, you know, like, and then every night we got done last night. We got done, you know, riding all day with the helmets. And then it was like, okay, I got to leave. I got to go back to the room and finish editing this, you know, because we're dropping tomorrow.
but we're living it. I mean, like, we're super grateful for everything, all the adventures that we've had the last couple years, and like the various projects that helped fuel that. Like, that's helped
Yeah.
us out a lot. Is we've both built careers on freelancing for a long time. Things come and go and change, but ideally, I mean, we want to get to a point where we are doing this full time, because we have videos, and he's like, we should just drop this one like randomly in there. And it's like,
I get excited.
yeah. You know, we could put out more, but like, let's just stay consistent, keep the pace going for as long as we can, and keep it going. We'd love to hit 200 videos. That would be awesome. And
For
we
sure.
would love to explore. I mean, we're world travelers.
Yeah.
One thing that brought us together and that we've seen, you know, since we met each other 13 years ago, 14 years ago. So we've seen how each of us has done a lot of traveling overseas, and we share that passion. And that's something we want to get back to and do more of. And the ADV world has really opened up too, is like, I rode motorcycles overseas, but not on ADV bikes. And the things that
Right.
change, like, okay, Patagonia has crept up on the list. We want to go to South Africa,
Morocco.
and we want to show people these places, but we want to build our audience in our backyard. We want people to see what they can go do, and then start doing more of those aspirational trips. Like, once I get more of those skills, once I've done Death Valley a few times, or, you know, gone out to Utah and Arizona and done some of that stuff, and getting that confidence and building those skills, that when you do go overseas, and sometimes shit hits the fan overseas, like, your skills are there where you're not going to be, you
Deli
know,
belly.
exactly. Yeah.
I know nothing about
He's
that.
not prepared for that. I don't know if we practiced
But-
trained enough for that.
Speak to that a little bit too, because I've
Yeah.
seen you both have been out at different riding schools, and
Mhm.
talk a little bit about the riding school and how, and that's how you learn, right? I mean,
I
with
think-
some of the best riders in the world
Totally.
teaching you how to.
Yeah, I think you know, one of my favorite sayings that I've heard recently is just like, you know, you can spend all this money on parts for your bike, but most of the time those don't transition to the next bike. The one investment you can make is in yourself, you know, and those skills that you learn. So the thing is, like, actually this morning when we were riding through Idlewild, and I was like, I came over the columns with Maggie. We were on our Cardos, which are sold at 2LaneLIVE.com. And
An affiliate with.
and we have an
Yeah.
affiliate link
Why
on our
not?
website too. But anyway, I came over the comms, and Maggie, for Christmas this year, she bought me a track day from the dealership. Kyle Wyman and Cody Wyman were both teaching it.
Yep.
And honestly, man, every time I'm in these windies now, or the twisties, you know, it's like I just think of that. And I was like, thank you. Like, honestly, every time I tackle these twisty roads, like, I just have such a better understanding. And that's asphalt. That was road.
Right.
As far as all the
Cross-training.
other training goes, you know, like, I think that, first of all, we did some training at Austin Moto Adventures, and that was great. We did like foundational training. It's all about clutch. It's about braking. It's about understanding ABS and not having ABS on. It's about
Traction,
counterbalance and traction. Yeah, which a lot of that is like, there's stuff on the road and stuff on the dirt that do correlate and that are totally different,
Right.
you know? And then I think if somebody's getting into this sport, you're new to it, like, try to go out and ride with some people who are better than you, you know, like, but don't do it with somebody who's going to leave you in the dust and screw you, or
Right.
take you up some road that you shouldn't go up. And, you know, we're actually at Red Rock Harley. We've been doing this dirt ride every month now. And the big point of the dirt ride is not necessarily to go take people on some cool ride. It's actually just to get people to connect.
Yeah.
So that was one big thing when I got into ADV riding. I was like, man, I need some people. Maggie didn't have a bike. You know what I mean? I need some friends. So, you know,
Caitlin
like,
and I know what it's like. not to
yeah,
have a
right.
bike.
Yeah. So poor guys.
We're suffering right now.
She had a bike, but not the same bike.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
we couldn't
definitely.
do the
Yeah.
same things. Yeah.
We have bikes. We have
Yeah.
not the same.
They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, like, having people meet and be able to go ride together is really important, and that's something that Harley offers that no other OEM really offers, is community.
Mhm.
You know, and then now we're actually starting to implement some clinics. So if people, like, this weekend, actually, we have like a sand clinic and you know, foundational skills that we're doing out on Gene Dry Lake Bed. Red Rock Harley's putting it on.
Where's that lake?
That's Gene Dry Lake Bed, is like on the way out to California from Las Vegas.
Okay, so it's out past the Vegas Strip.
Past the
area.
strip, yeah. It's desert.
Coming from California's before.
coming
It's
from
right behind
California.
the
It's before
Seven Magic
Vegas.
Mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The colorful
Yeah.
rock
Oh,
is
yeah, okay.
behind it. Yeah, it's a wide open lake bed.
Way too much sand. I'm
Gene
not
Sloan
going.
area.
Yeah, there's a lot. But it's cool. Like, I mention this all the time. It's that risk offset. You want your skills always to be higher than the risk you're taking. And when you're getting into a new sport, like, they're pretty on par. And things like training help you build that skill level in a controlled area so that when you're out there and you're taking more risk, your skills can match it. And that's what we
Totally.
go for, is like, start with the training, because then you can go play in your backyard. Then you can feel a little bit more confident. You can go ride with other people and not feel like so sketched out, as like you have a little bit of skills that will help you in those situations. And then from there, you plan the Patagonia trips, you
Yeah,
plan
right.
like the cross countries, or you do one of these BDRs that's in our backyard, you know, really awesome ways to travel across the states by dirt only. But continue growing those skills, ride with people who are better than you, but understand that and are there to help. And every community has people that are open to share that experience and
That's
make
just like-
memories and tell stories.
Yeah, that's just like that thing when you're racing and you're learning how to race. Don't race slow guys you can beat. Race guys that you can't beat so you
Yeah.
can get better.
Yeah, exactly.
Same vibe.
Yeah.
Well, but anything that you do should be done with some sort of training or at least discussion. I know he went out and practiced in church parking lots or DMVs and did stuff before he did things like, I remember my first bagger, it was so heavy and I didn't realize I was on light bikes my whole life, and then getting into a turn and
Mhm.
too heavy of a bike, and you got to learn how you maneuver that. And now to the point. So I think, and showcasing when you guys are up doing that stuff, I think is great for people to see, because they see you out doing some badass stuff, but it's also cool because you're like, yeah, we're training for this stuff.
Yeah,
too.
we're learning how to
Like,
do
we're
this.
learning
Yeah.
how to do it.
A big thing is seat time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just like, I mean, I go in my backyard. Larry Yeager, he's a guy I rode with recently. He's this badass. I don't know how old he is, but he's an older gentleman. But anyway, I went out with him recently, and he had this cool thing where he just like he does this thing where he kind of he'll ride off on the bike and not get on it all the way. But it's nice when you're off road. A lot of times you're on uneven surfaces, so it looks cool. So that was kind of why I wanted to do it. But but also it's
But
practical.
he's one footing it or something.
He's one footing it, so
Yeah.
he's getting a start on one foot and
Yeah.
gets going. And like I was like, I want to learn how to do that, so I just went in our backyard and just kept practicing on a pretty like good surface to do it. And that's what it takes, though. That's how you learn how to do these things.
Totally.
Like,
Right.
the time to do it is not when you're on a BDR with your buddies and
No.
you're like, oh, I'm going to try this today because
Because you'll get education
You'll-
doing that too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Gonna
have
be
different
forced
lessons.
education.
humbling
Yeah.
education.
That goes across the board. Like, if you're someone who just goes and hammers down on straight highways and you want to go ride the $1 million highway, you probably should go practice something a little bit different. Go into turns and twisties. I know friends that are fantastic riders, but they still get nervous on turns and twisties because it's just about what you're most used to riding.
Right.
And Justin got to ride with these guys who came from the East Coast. When they see mud, they love that stuff
Right.
because they're from the East
They're like
Coast.
hogs of the mud.
Yeah, when it came to sand, which Justin has spent a lot of time
Yeah, right. I
falling
was
over
like,
it.
Let's
You'll see a
go.
lot of sand videos with
I
Justin.
didn't want to bring that up.
Yeah.
Who was training the sand course? You or Maggie?
I definitely fell the most.
Oh, I know you did.
It's
That's why
such
I'm
a
asking
weird
who's
thing
training
though,
it.
with the front tire floating on the sand, and it
I mean,
feels like
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just state something though.
You were
so if you
heavily
look at my
packed.
if
You
you
were
look at my
heavily
bike, I was
packed.
heavily packed. So recently I did the Biltwell 100 race, and there's a bunch of sand. I didn't have all that stuff on my bike, and I was like, "Whoa, this is like so easy!"
Yeah.
Because I didn't have all that junk back there.
But it's about seat time and comfortability. If you spend a lot of time doing something that you want to get better at and you just keep hitting it with that determination, like there's so much cool stuff that you can do later down the line. And sand is like surfing. Like, I don't know.
It's fun.
I'm not great at surfing, but I can relate it to sand because I didn't take the time liking paddling and all of that stuff. If you learn to swim in the sand, it'll be fun.
if you
eventually.
snowboard or you ski, it's kind of like powder days.
Yeah.
When you get in the groove of it, then you're floating.
Mhm.
That's the feeling
But
you
the
get.
thing is, when we had those bikes, we had the 3 big bags, and we definitely were loaded our 2 big bags,
Yeah.
and they were loaded.
They were loaded, but we were coming into the sand at night, and so
Ooh, even
we
better.
couldn't follow the track at all.
Yeah.
And then we hear him kind of go punk, and we were laughing. Josh and I are because he was
Loser.
a puff ball of sand. So it
Well,
didn't hurt
luckily, I was able to
anything.
just go boom and just lay it into
Just
a big
laid it,
berm, and
yeah.
then just
And then
So we're laughing, and then you can't see for shit,
headlights on.
and we're staggered, and
And
I'm
we're
trying to
on-
look at the line, and we're back up on our haunches, back over the back end of the bike, and all of a sudden I just see him go whoop,
full on
and I'm like,
torpedo.
oh shit, he's right in front of me. So I'm hard on the brakes, right, and I just start surfing. I'm gonna run over the top of him. So I just went bing, and I just dropped it myself.
And
party.
the 7 yards
a
of
party.
space he gave behind my taillight while riding didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
So then he
We
picked the
were-
bike up and roosted Josh.
Yeah.
I went to pick the bike up, and I'm like, oh,
And we're
Yeah.
in.
my
Were
ribs
those
were just messed up.
were those 80/20s or 50/50s? Was
50
it
50s?
Oh,
I mean, it definitely wasn't. If it was 80/20s, it was 80% street. They were pretty much. They weren't knobbies
No,
by
they
any
were
means.
That,
50/50.
yeah.
But yeah,
But it still, I mean, it just poking the bear like we just got ours.
And of course, Randy
Yeah.
comes, he's laughing.
Incredible.
He's just doing his thing.
he's already at
so
the
He
Yeah.
cabin.
almost went down.
yeah.
But that's the thing.
'Cause it
Almost, he
was-
still
you just
could,
couldn't pick a line.
you know.
Yeah.
It's like if I can see it, I'm gonna get through
The
it.
sand was
Sure.
like,
It's deep.
it was
yeah.
deep. I hated it.
And a
Yeah.
reminder
I'm like,
for
Yeah.
it
Hated
sucks.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, it does suck, and it
does,
does in the
yeah.
beginning, and especially when you're lifting a 550-pound bike,
And then I'm kind of
over and over. I mean, that's why I go to the gym, but
Right.
I'm a total rookie on the bike,
Yeah.
doing the thing when we're going down the Mojave Desert, the daylight the next day.
Mhm.
And, these guys, Randy's up there going 50, 60 miles an hour. These guys are going, and I'm behind him going, I'm trying to stay, and I'm like hitting the sand. And this other guy, Brian Sheffer, was behind, and he stayed with me all the time because he was just like, I'm watching this guy.
You just got to ride your ride.
We were ripping.
And it's like, I'm like, okay, I know it's better when I go faster. It feels better. But then I'm like, if I crash, I'm fucked.
Mhm.
If I go over the bars at 60 or 50, it's not going to feel good.
But that's a really good point though, is only go as fast as you're willing to
Willing
crash.
to fall, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and willing to fall.
Right,
So that, especially in the beginning when you don't quite have those skills, you need to keep that in mind. Everybody needs to.
So
keep
we'd
that
get
in
the
mind.
different sections of the
Yeah.
trip, and Randy'd be waiting there going, we're not going to make it. We better take street now because of you. You
Oh,
know?
great! So you had the perfect crowd to ride with.
Yeah.
Best buddies.
Yeah.
But
I
it's a
heard
different
bikes
animal.
on.
That's my bike.
that is Galen's bike that
The
he
guy that
sold.
bought it,
No way.
I guess.
He's pulling out maybe
We're
for
busy
some
though.
parts. Yeah. Also a reminder from Theo from Harley. He said, reminder, Harley-Davidson Riding Academy has multiple levels of skills training as well.
On the
That's true.
website.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then another
And
one,
Moto Geo did a whole series.
Mhm.
Hey, Teo, what's happening?
your dog Justin Posada.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, dude?
So he's just saying hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
Justin, we got the helmet for Audrey. We'll
Aha.
have to talk later.
Well, I think what you're doing, and I think that the stories that you guys can bring, and we considered it YouTube, but as we've gotten into this thing for 4 years, people tell us we're on television. It's because they watch it on television,
Yeah.
right? And I think what you can bring to the screen, especially as a couple, show a couple fights too, because that'll be good.
She always wins.
Yeah,
Like,
but
she
I
always
think
makes it through the
Some
sand.
sand wrestling.
but I do think because generationally people need to see this. People need to see that people are adventurous, and they need to see that they can go out and prepare a meal and be camping and do some things. I get the sprinter van and that too, but
Sure.
I think there's a reverent beauty to what you guys are doing. The stuff that I've seen you do, and just even showing like the stuff that you use to cook with, and the stuff that you use to sleep in, and the
Sure.
stuff that. I mean, it's important for people to know not only how they're geared here,
Yeah.
but what can they take and what can they eat and what can be light and what can be packed the right way to do a 2 or 3 day or 5 day thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Also, I mean, something that's kind of fun about, I feel like the stuff that we do and even our gear reviews is like, we have different opinions.
right.
You know what I mean? Like Maggie does things a certain way and I do things a certain way. Like I'm definitely, I said this earlier, but I feel like I'm the diva. It's like, I need a special sleeping bag with a special sleeping pad. I like the Zambivy, Maggie's like, just give me a sack. I don't care. I'll sleep in it,
Are we bringing the 10 on this?
Are
one?
we bringing? I'll sleep under the stars. Let
I
those
love it.
scorpions touch me. I don't care.
That's my gnarly Harley voice.
Yeah.
It comes out sometimes.
I didn't think my bike sounded that great. That sounds really nice.
Yeah.
You didn't immediately recognize it?
I
You were
did.
like,
I'm
So
is
when
that you?
When you guys are out on these trips and you're
Yeah.
spending the night out in the middle of nowhere, out sleeping, do you have self-defense with you?
What do you mean? Like, do I
A
have to
gun
protect myself
or
from her?
strap.
Yes. Yeah. Or do you? Is it?
She's got 2 guns.
Yeah.
Guns, I'm from
a
Texas.
baseball bat, a knife, whatever. I mean, do you have self-protection from animal? Anything?
I mean, I don't know if we should say this on air.
You don't have to.
Because we, yeah.
All you have to do is say if you do carry
We
protection.
can't tell anybody
Yeah.
how
I might have
protect
missile
you.
launchers. Have you seen the Warthog bike?
Oh,
I
Warthog.
have
Yeah.
a Gatling gun. On
A10?
that thing. It's an A10.
Nice.
Fires off 1,000 rounds a second, dude.
I'm gonna tell you guys right now, we kill people with kindness. And it
Whoa.
works.
I like that.
It's worked every time so far. We
It's
haven't
worked
quite
30% of the time,
Yeah.
100% of
Yeah,
the
right.
time.
exactly 60% of the time it works every time.
I feel like it's a good question. Like,
yeah.
there's a couple recently in the ADV community, and anybody who's on here watching this will probably know of them, but they were in India
Had a
and
situation.
had a really awful situation happen, and like I've thought about if that was us. And the thing is, like, when you're traveling overseas, it's not like I can carry
Right.
overseas, so like, what is the answer to that kind of situation? And like, I don't know. Well, I was in the military, so I can tell you, when there's an unfair fight, you fight unfairly, right?
So you
whatever
have
it
some
takes.
training.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I've taught her too. So if you've ever seen, there's a picture actually on our channel where Maggie's putting me in a choker, and I taught her that move.
So that actually is,
Proudly.
so that answered the question. You do have some skills.
Sure.
We're not going to
protect-
reveal all our skills,
Right.
but
Yeah.
we do go
But
first
that's
with
good.
kindness. We go
Yeah.
first. If you approach people first and you go talk to people first, like there's sketchy situations everywhere, but I think-
Talking is a great weapon.
unless it's a
It
bear,
Yeah. Well, that's
we don't really speak bear.
so
I
that's
haven't
the
worked
thing.
on
There-
that.
Well,
skill.
they
There's
don't
a-
really want to mess with you anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but mountain lions
But
do.
yeah, they
when
do.
you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
snacks and stuff in some of the places we get up to,
Yeah.
like there are bear boxes. You
Yeah.
need to watch out for those
Sure.
things. You just need to be aware of the places that you're going to and tread lightly. That's something just as a woman you have
Right.
to do anyways,
Sure.
but like always be aware of your surroundings.
But
Be
that
aware of
mountain
who's
lion
following
thing,
you on the highway. Even we've come in situations and I impart
Picked up
my
on
wisdom
things.
on them. I'm like, hey, we shouldn't pass this guy. We should be the ones who always see where he's
Yeah.
like
Which I'm just like, wait, what? Why?
yeah.
So that's good.
So he
head
doesn't
on
follow
a
us.
swivel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
know your awareness of what's around you, what's
Yeah.
happening. That's good. That's part of
Yeah.
And we just try to go again with kindness. Like there are people that like again, if you give people attention,
I feel
call
like
them out.
this is a great opportunity to say that. So we went on this road trip when we had the tech airs, right? And the whole time it was like everywhere we went, everybody wanted to be our friends. And Maggie's like, I don't understand.
We're
We're riding Harleys,
we're not even on the adventure bikes.
We're
We're on
on
like
road glides.
black lowrider ST,
Yeah,
big
road
black
glide.
road glide. We think we're hard.
Yeah.
We're like
So we're walking around trying to
leather.
be all
We're finally
tough.
wearing the leathers, not our like nerd suits.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, we're tough. And
Until
everybody
everybody
wanted.
Hey, can I be your friend?
Literally everywhere we stopped, somebody would come over.
But those bikes draw that.
They do. They
Yeah,
do
no,
for
I
sure.
mean,
We're not really mad about it. I
And
mean,
we're
we
not that
like
hard.
Yeah, we're not that hard at all.
People
No, we're
always want to talk about a motorcycle.
That's one
Yeah.
of the best
I mean,
things about a
it's-
Harley.
Yeah.
I feel like. I mean, any motorcycle. I have people come from all OEMs, but Harley. The thing that I've found is that everybody has like a long lineage or history that they have to talk about with the Harley-Davidson, and I think that's cool.
Well, favorite little story, real quick. Galen and I were on top of Hoover Dam. There was a couple from India. They're over there looking at the dam. They're checking out this thing, this whole massive. And we pull in, and they're like, can we sit on your bikes? Now the whole focus is on these Harleys.
Yeah.
They're on the bikes,
That's a
taking
dam.
pictures.
Over damn,
Over the
whatever.
Galen's
They
like,
didn't
he
care
always
about the
goes,
dam.
The
Here.
damn thing.
he'll turn around. All right, hit the button. Boom. Wah.
We had someone today who was like in a golf cart at the golf.
That's right,
resort,
came
who
over.
just came up and he was like, "Are those Pan Americas?" And then like started talking to us, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm on that lowrider over there," and like was just chatting it up. And then we introduced ourselves, and he's like, "I already follow you." And, like it was cool to see. And then, but being so inspired and wanting to hear about the Pan America and all the places and things that we can do on that,
Yeah.
like people want to see that stuff.
The adventure's endless.
Yeah,
The
for
adventure
sure.
endless. And
Well, I think the Harley just for us, we've said it. There's a soul behind
Mhm.
the brand, and
Sure.
I think that's what. And oftentimes people come up and say, "Well, is that a Harley?" And yeah, that's which one is that? Well, I ride a Victory, and like they said, no, it's cool, dude. Glad you're riding.
Yeah,
yeah,
Like, but yeah, this bike is going to draw a little bit more attention than probably yours,
yeah.
yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
the aspiration. It's like a lot of people want to be on a Harley. They
right?
might, if they're not riding them, they want to be on them.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and in India, what was interesting is we were on Pan Americas and we rode with a guy on a big road glide, and his bike was the one that everybody. I mean, it was kind of funny. We stopped at some hotel, and it was when we got to the Taj Mahal, and he gets off his bike, and literally as soon as he gets off the bike, these like young dudes come over and start sitting on his bike
without him.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, those guys over there are touching your bike. He's like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, oh, okay. Because in America, we'd be carrying him. You know, like, yeah, it was interesting because like even though the Pan America was this big bike, and you know, and it's a cool looking bike and all that, here it's very attention drawing. Like I went to Sturgis and I had to take a road glide. And I was so bummed because like I was one of 1 million people there with a black road glide, you know, where the Pan America, everybody's like, is that a Harley? I'm like, well, yes, it is, you know?
Why, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Everyone around the world that wants to ride and travel in America, they want to do Route 66 on a Harley-Davidson.
Yeah, that's right.
it's
Yeah.
true.
But I
Come
think
from all over.
I think from a design perspective, I love the look of the Pan
Me too.
America.
Me
I think
too.
and I think if you look at kind of what's been going on lately too in the race leagues and the King of the Baggers and that, what they've done with the Pan Americas for
It's
those
the hooligan bikes.
the hooligan is
So
insane.
cool.
It's pretty cool.
So
Go back
cool.
and look at our Pan America videos because you know what? 2LaneLIVE did do a nice Pan America trip. Check it out.
All right, well, Deadwood
He's got a
green.
Deadwood green one. Heck yeah, dude. That was my first color.
Yeah.
And have you seen the is it forest green?
Oh, the new one, the
Oh, the
emerald.
new-
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's not the. I have the emerald
It's a
green one.
forest
Emerald
green.
Yeah, the emerald green one
Pine.
was the one that they had for. I think it's like I don't know what the color
It's
is.
pine or forest.
It's like
Yeah.
a
It's
real dark
beautiful.
green,
Oh,
but it's really cool because they put the like topographic
Yeah, they
map on the
shadow.
side. Yeah, and on all of them, I think actually the red. I really like the red and white one. That one's super cool.
Coolest one I see. You've got to go check out Yellowstone Harley.
Yellowstone
What they've done
Harley-Davidson.
with one of these green bikes, they matted it. They removed the gloss. And
Yeah.
then they put these yellow Moscow bags, and the bike looks.
Oh,
mean.
really?
It's
Super
really
sick.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're. I mean,
So
everything coming out.
Yellowstone. I got to ride with Josh Fry recently. He's a super nice guy. His wife Heidi is super awesome.
Yeah.
But they live and breathe the Pan America. I mean,
Yeah.
they really like they go out. They've done a bunch of BDR stuff. And the big thing that I like about that dealership in particular is that there are several employees who ride Pan Americas there. And what they're doing is they're fitting the bikes so that they're ready to be adventure ready. You know, it's like, it's not just like, oh, cool, we put a chrome plate on the side, or they're actually making it so that if you decide to buy it, you can go up to Alaska on it.
So you've done a little bit of aftermarket stuff on your bike. Like, what is that?
Well,
Number one.
I think number one, we go with a Black Dog skid plate.
Okay.
The reason we do that is it's the only skid plate still, I
On
think,
the market.
that isn't mounted to the motor.
And that's a
Mhm.
big deal.
We beat the crap out of that
Yeah.
thing. And that was like the first thing when I got my bike. We needed to go film right out the gate. So it was like, what am I doing? Black Dog skid plate and pegs so that this thing
So
survives. Right off the floor, there is still a lot of stuff that you need to do to the Pan America to get a little bit more
If
off-road
you want to
ready,
make it
depending-
super off-road.
yeah, depending on what your adventures are going to be. So that's another thing that we want to be a resource for, and we want people to ask questions about, is because Justin, I mean, we've gone on this Pan America journey. We've known what they can do stock. We've seen some of the weaker points that still need a little bit of extra parts to help. But skid plate right off the bat.
Skid plate and
always.
foot pegs. I mean, the thing is, like on an adventure bike, you're standing
Right.
for
Yeah.
hours.
I mean, the
right?
pegs that we
So-
had on the bikes were just little sticks that came
Yeah,
out.
so if you
Yeah.
have the stock ones, they're small. Like
Yeah, wide
they're
ones.
cool because you can pull the rubber out. So
Mhm.
the rubber is for when you're on the road. You can
Right.
pull the rubber out, and they are made for more off-road, but they're small.
We were
So-
used to floorboards, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
exactly. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Our Black Dog Cycle Works, they're the floorboards
Yeah,
that they can be
yeah.
riding. You know, those things are rad.
There's a bunch
really
of stuff
good.
though. Like you can still just little tweaks, like even just rotating the handlebars up a little
handlebars
bit.
up.
Because when you're standing,
Yep.
just having the controls a little bit further down to try to be as level.
Yeah, you want to create the geometry so when you're standing, it's in line with your shoulders and everything, so you're not super sore at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
wrists, you know, you don't want to. You want to have your clutch and your brake in line with your arms when you're standing up. So you know, it's like putting
It's a
the
simple
controls.
rotation, but we have risers on ours.
We put risers on ours.
We do.
You got like 9.5 pullbacks with big bars.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right. I'm putting
Ape
apes on
hanger.
mine.
What risers?
A1 mic.
Yeah.
A1 risers, I think it is. They're really good. I like those a lot. They're 2 up, 1 back.
Is there stuff on your website?
We
that
don't have
people can
those on
see,
our
or-
website, but we have the Black Dog stuff.
Okay.
We put our favorite Black Dog stuff.
What's the
on our site.
website again?
WayWeRoam.com.
Know the.
Know the.
Okay, let me look for that.
WayWeRoam.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get that up there.
Damn, there it is. I was Googling for days. I just could have taken a word out.
Yeah.
There
Oops.
we go.
Yeah.
Oh, do we get to see that, or you just put it in
I
the?
think
I
you
put it
just
in
put
there.
Gotcha.
People
Yeah,
don't
it's
see
cool.
what I'm
It's cool to
showing
check
you
out.
right
Yeah,
now.
the Black Dog stuff was like the first thing we got out there. There's
Yeah.
a few things we're only putting stuff up that we have
That
run
we
and-
really use.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do a video at some point that is all the upgrades that we've done to our bikes and why. And, I mean, we're
There's a lot
slowly
coming.
trickling out like the gear. As you can see here is the stuff we wear.
Oh, so you're telling me that I could get some Moscow Moto bags for my KTM?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
From you.
Yes, sir.
And you could maybe bring them to Moab, say next weekend.
Oh, that's
Gotcha.
right.
Maybe they'll bring 'em there for you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to Dusty Lizard. And
That's
we're
right.
robbing you,
We're
Josh.
gonna
for a
see you
weekend. Sorry,
there.
guys.
Yeah.
What is Dusty Lizard? It sounds very familiar. Have we been by there, or is
Probably
that a
not.
place?
It's
Isn't that where hey, it's
Mos-
Cody's going?
yeah.
Oh,
it
yeah,
is.
she's going out there too.
Cody's gonna be out there. It's so Moscow, we are ambassadors for Moscow. Some of the best panniers and off-road riding.
They also have
bags and
jackets
luggage.
and
They have great
pants
gear,
and
yeah.
They meet your diva status.
they win my diva.
He
set.
is
They
the
have-
Moscow princess.
Yeah, oh man.
I
The
love
tiger pants. Okay, when it gets hot,
it.
let me tell you, no more swass.
Yeah.
These are the best things on the planet. They are, first of all, the road. What is the not crash, but the
Abrasions.
abrasion resistance
Yeah.
is some of the top actually out there. The tiger pants, they are so awesome. They're like, it's like wearing a windscreen, so you're basically naked, but you have pants on.
But also, there's this thing called the Moscow booty, right?
Oh yeah, the adventure booty.
The adventure boot. No, but the
Maggie-
Moscow. Only the Moscow pants really are.
Really showcase it.
Yeah.
This is sometimes Maggie lets me go up in front, but it's mostly for the adventure booty.
But Moscow does great gear, and this is an event that moves around. They're doing it in Moab. They've done one outside Salt Lake City.
all over the place.
They just have a few of these dusty lizards. It's a meeting place. And it's more of a hangout. They really create a vibe. They have music. It's
They
meant
do
for-
rides though.
They ride.
Yeah.
But we have some friends that are just going because of the community stuff. They
Totally.
aren't planning on really doing much riding for injuries
This
or
is
whatever,
our-
but they're gonna go hang out because it's
They come in. They bring a semi truck and they have like a lounge and they're all.
couches.
So
and-
Moscow Moto is kind of like, in some ways, I you know what, I'm just gonna say it. They are kind of the burner crowd of the the motorcycle scene, especially off road. Like they have an event called the Unrally, and it really is like a mini Burning Man. They
Burning
have
Man for
they-
motorcycles.
Yeah, for motorcycles. So it's like they bring out all these people, and like there are definitely a lot of people doing cool stuff with motorcycles. But they have like Pete has this like chair that he built. It's a giant chair.
You
And he
sit in
brings it to Burning
motorized.
Man, but he also brings it to this Unrally thing. So they're like a really chill crowd. And the thing about Moscow Moto that we really love and appreciate is that these guys like truly live the lifestyle. Like all this gear that they're putting on these bikes, they've gone out and tested it themselves. They've ridden all this crazy stuff. They're designing it based on their own needs. Just like Mr. Arai, he built a helmet because he was doing crazy stuff on motorcycles and wanted
Way
to
back,
protect
yeah.
his head. So that's why he made a helmet company. Same thing with Moscow. It was just like they had a need and they decided to fill it for
The
themselves.
best things are made from need.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their own, like, it's not a profit first type of situation like
Right.
these guys, like they have to make money, but Arai, for example, they're not owned by a bunch of different companies. They're private still. They're able to make decisions. Like, for example, with them, they have a facility that's dedicated to doing a backup QA, quality assurance, on the already, and they can do that because they don't have to tell their investors, well, hey, we want to open this other facility. It's going to cost you guys blah, blah, blah. It's just like, no, we're going to have the best stuff. Moscow Moto, it's the same thing. They won't sell at dealerships because they want to have the highest quality materials they possibly can. So the thing is, people look at their bags and their gear and they're like, man, that's really expensive. But it's really expensive because it's bulletproof, because it's backed up. It's going to last. You're going to make the payment once and then that's it. You're not going out buying some crappy stuff.
Buy it right, don't buy it twice.
Don't buy it twice. Today's episode that we're releasing at 6 p.m. Our buddy Zach with us, he ended up going out. He bought like some Amazon
top case,
and you'll see in the video it pops off his thing when we're doing off road. It's like,
we don't mention it in the video, but this top case has a name.
That's
She's
true.
a little rowdy, so she got the name Stormy. And now he has stickers that say Stormy on it. The next episode that we do with Zach, you're gonna see.
You're gonna see Stormy.
Stormy's gonna
That's
make
where
an
the name
appearance,
came
but
from.
this top case has just been quite adventurous because it, wasn't quite the best stuff out there.
Yeah, but I think that's the moral of the story is
Yeah.
sometimes it's worth making the investment. Like, yeah, you look at this price tag and you want to gawk at it, but there's a reason for it. Like it's gonna last you a long time. On Moscow, for example, let's just say I want to go down to South America. I'm gonna ride from here down to Ushuaia. Dude, that thing's got to last 6 months.
Mhm.
It's got to be bulletproof. It's got to be to the point where if it pops off, it breaks for some reason because I hit a stump, that I can somehow still get it back on the bike, and my stuff inside is going to be protected from the elements, water and all that stuff. And that's all that rain, everything. So it's all their designs are made. It's got a dry bag inside, a waterproof bag inside, and then there's a canvas bag on the outside. And it's super clever the way that they've engineered these things, and there's a lot of thought and effort put into it.
So would you say you're a fan?
No, not at all.
Justin.
Forgot my
Well,
Moscow shirt.
Yeah, I forgot. Usually,
We're
you'd be
lucky.
wearing the Kiger pants right now.
He's in them.
He's in them underneath.
naked
I'm
underneath.
naked underneath. No one can see.
But we have the luxury of doing stuff like that a little bit too, like with his son's company, Thrashing. I mean, we typically get to do the testing of the stuff,
Yeah.
whether it's rain gear, whether it's floorboards, whether it's and when you put the time and quality into something, and they're proud for most of their stuff is made in the USA, so
Yeah.
it is going to be a little bit more expensive, but his chrome is like no other. His the hard parts are like no other. It's a real niche, but it's because he cares and he's spent time around making stuff that works for us as riders that he rides too. It's not someone sitting up. I mean, they're testing stuff all the time,
Right.
and we're benefactors of that.
Yeah.
So we can tell you, we put 200,000 miles on that pair of floorboards and no issues, no brake arm issues, it works.
And that's important, I think, for us to keep sharing what we all do and keep doing these things and sharing the information that we're getting and the stories that we have of our gear, like withstanding this stuff, or the things that we really do love, is because not everybody gets that many miles on those things.
Right.
And not many people will hit those miles on those things, but knowing and having the peace of mind that these things are built to last and that, we're doing the homework.
Well,
for
no,
everybody.
I think the other thing, you said it earlier today in the shop when we were talking, but if you guys, if one person took the trip of a lifetime because they saw your video and that's all they remember is that one trip, the falls, the fun, all of it, and you've changed someone like that. I mean, that's when we started this. We wanted people to go see the small towns, inspire them, and it's just done a 180 on us.
Yep.
We had a guy today saying, "You saved my life because of your channel and watching what you've done." And I'm trying to make a TV show out of stuff about these. I lost my granddaughter and my daughter in a DUI accident, and I had nowhere to go. I was deep in despair, and I caught your channel, and it turned my life around.
That's awesome.
I mean,
That's
so
great.
to hear those kind of stories and that kind of impact, that's what you're in for, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
sure. I mean, that's what. So on our channel, like our first episode, you saw me fall a lot, but the thing is, like, that's the reality of it. Like, why I was mad, to be honest. I was super pissed off. Like when I was like, great, now I'm gonna look like an idiot. I fell
We're
the whole
not
time.
putting any of this in the
Any
video.
of this in the video, you know what I mean? But then later on, I was like, no, like that's the reality of this. I want people to know
Exactly.
that, like, even though I'm doing some really cool stuff out there, like this is what it took for me to get there.
Nothing's
And
perfect.
that wasn't very long ago. That was like 3 months ago. So
We fall down a lot.
we fall down a lot.
That's
It's
being
fine.
honest.
Pick
Yeah.
back
and
up.
showing people because when they get out there, if they watch your video and you never fell and they keep falling,
Yeah, right.
they're gonna be going, "What the hell?"
Why
This-
did
you
I
know,
get myself?
and
into
we don't
this?
get political on our channel, but the country needs to see people picking themselves back up
Sure.
and putting in the hard work and saying, "Yeah, I can complete the task. I'm moving on." Like,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a big reason I feel like we're both into this is like a few years ago, I was hanging out with Maggie, and I was like, dude, you have a great story. You need to share this with the world. Like what you're doing and how you're living your life. I think more people need to see that and understand that. And as a woman, like, I feel like it's really important that you share this, and like, and I gave her a GoPro. I was like, here, take this GoPro. I want you to film yourself. I want you to, like, that was the beginning of it. But, and now it's like, there's just a lot of times where people are like, man, you're living this awesome life. But the reality is it's hard. You guys know this is hard. I called Josh. I was crying the other night. I'm like, dude, I have to edit this and I'm filming all these things and I don't know what we're
He
doing.
called us after and said, why is he crying on it?
But it's a grind, and
it's a grind. It's not all easy.
And
Like,
we're okay to say it. I mean, we work really hard
Really hard.
outside of what we're showcasing with people, and then it is hard work to stay on top of it and keep sharing these things. And there's so much ground to cover. We still feel like we're sitting at the bottom of a really big mountain for what we want to do and what we want to share with the world. So we're just going with enthusiasm. We get knocked down a lot.
Well, I heard a quote from Robin Williams, and I love it, and I repeat it all the time. Someone asked him, what are you going to do tomorrow? And he said, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then he paused and he went, but isn't that exciting?
Yeah. It's really true.
Some dirt roads.
Some dirt roads.
Yeah.
A lot of sand for Justin.
And people are going to watch you and see what.
But you are at the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah, we are.
Right. I mean, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you got to start somewhere, right?
Yep.
And people often comment to us about this, you're living the life. And the reality is it's been great.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, and we don't do this all about money thing, but it's work.
Yeah, it is work.
And you have to be dedicated and passionate and compassionate as well. And so, laugh at yourselves often because you have to. I mean,
if anybody ever comes camping with us, make sure you put your tent far away because we usually giggle into the night.
Yeah.
Oh, you two are so
enjoy
cute.
what we're doing. Enjoy what we're doing. But I think we talked about this a little bit earlier too, is that why? If you stay consistent with your why you're going out, why you're doing this stuff, there's always road bumps. There's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be that time to grind and all of that
That's
stuff.
life.
Exactly. And we're all familiar with that. And everybody goes through that in their own way. The nice part is that we get to choose it. We're choosing how we want to do it, and we get to choose it on two wheels.
Well, I like the one we get with when I grow up, I want to be like you guys, or when I retire, I want to be like you guys. My thing is don't wait, start now.
Yeah.
It's the same.
But I mean, the reality is, we were talking about this as well, that for me, the only thing that's really changed is it's changed our time that we get into town.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes longer. So we're in the twilight zone, and we have probably seen more beautiful twilight sunsets than we ever have in the prior 10 years of riding.
Right.
Yep.
It's insane.
Josh is making you be in the right light at the right time, right?
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean,
Careful production planning.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. He knows how to get those beautiful shots.
I mean, there's times that we wished we were in a town longer.
Yeah.
And some of that is happening this year where we're spending a little bit more time in places, but
And that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of our balance too, honestly, is like, we're out, dude. Some of these rides that we're doing, we've never done before.
Right.
And the thing is, like, it's hard to like stop and be like, cool, let's go shoot this section for like 15, 20 minutes. When it's like, what's over the next hill?
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we just want to ride. We love what we do.
Yeah.
So, like, there's that part of it where it's like, how much do you kind of sacrifice to film and photograph, which, by the way, I love what I do. Like, I can't imagine actually just going out and riding and not taking a photograph and not filming. Like, I love it, and I love sharing it. I think it's so cool to share some of the places that we've been, but there is this balance. And even on our last episode with Travis Wyman, one of the things that we talked about is like, man, sometimes you get out there and you're going 60 miles per hour off road, full of adrenaline, right? And it's fun, but you're blowing past all this beautiful scenery. It's what happened to me in New Zealand, honestly, which it was like, man, there's just places where I kind of wish I could have just taken the helmet off, put some nice, comfortable shoes on, and just walked along that little stream there with all those hundreds of thousands of sheep, like, I wanted like 5 minutes to just sort of enjoy where I was.
Well, good sheep will do that,
That's true. They were delicious too. Definitely went out and had some lamb.
Yeah.
All right, give us your Instagrams and why we roam again.
The way we roam.
I'm at
way we
the
roam.
Maggie Hicks on Instagram.
And I'm at warthogbike.com. Just kidding. At warthogbike. At warthogbike.
We're gonna confuse people.
The way we
Subscribe
Hold
to
on,
our
hold on.
OnlyFans. No, just kidding.
There you go. There it is.
Well, now you're sitting back. There you go.
That work hot.
Nerd.
And then we
And all
are
the
on
links are
YouTube.
down below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way we roam
The
on
Way We
YouTube.
Roam.
So we're gonna be sharing those adventures. We really hope to inspire people to get off the beaten path a little bit, explore someplace new, and most importantly, just have fun.
Come ride with
Enjoy.
us at Red Rock Harley too.
Yeah.
I mean, look on our website. We
Yeah.
have a little, what is it? It's the Riders Corner on
Yeah.
the website.
I think it might be ADV Community.
So if you go to Riders Corner on the menu, it drops down.
RedRockHarley.com.
Red
Yeah.
Rock Harley. There's an ADV Riders tab on that, and we'll have our rides and clinics and all that stuff. So
Once
if
a month.
anybody's passing through Vegas, pretty sweet deal. You can go to EagleRider, and they just so happen to have Pan Americas. The rides that we're doing with the dealership are on county roads, so you are legally allowed to ride a Pan America with us. And yeah, it'd be cool to see some people.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank Maggie personally for being a bookend.
There you go.
Yours is pointing this way. I'm gonna have to point
Oh.
like that way.
Well, the road's going that way.
So we got 2LaneLIVE in the house.
Yeah.
Little merchandise here.
And we also have some shirts here.
What do you got there? Stand up and model that thing.
A little sweaty.
Yeah, a little bit. It made me nervous. It doesn't come with that, but
It's a
this
dirt
is
bag.
actually this is a one of a kind. We don't sell one like this.
Oh,
we
but
do
you
have,
do.
Who made it?
We do have these.
Oh, you
on-
made
Phil
it.
D's one. Yeah.
Yeah,
this one.
Maggie designed this. And we
I
do
like
have
the
it
dirt
on-
glide.
Yeah,
The dirt glide.
Yep. So those are.
I'm not gonna
are
take
on our
credit for the
website.
font. We did find that, but then yeah, the rest we did.
Excellent.
Well, we're super proud of you guys, and we love you and your family, and you're my nephew.
That's right, Uncle.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, real quick. So I was stuck in the airport for 24 hours trying to get to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I told Uncle Galen, I was like, hey man, I got stuck here. I don't know. Maybe I can come visit you guys, and just like too much traffic from the airport to here. But he's like, I'm gonna check up on you every hour. And he did every hour. He's like, I don't know how you don't drink. I would have been loaded by now.
Well, we had to check on you, make
I
sure you're good.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You know what? Our drop this week was incredible.
Oh,
I mean, you got to go check that out. We had, I think, 70 people on the premiere,
Yeah.
which was great. You know, having a little fun, chopping it up. Next week is Arizona Bike Week 2. Is that where we're at?
that's a
Chief?
good one. Then you get
Yeah.
some scenery in that one.
And then Arizona Bike Week 3, and then we're back to the wives, right?
Boom.
Nice.
Boom.
So we appreciate you guys jumping in here. I know you had the event, but it's so good to have you in studio. I would offer to take you to dinner tonight, but my daughter's in town for her birthday, so I'm going to take her. We're having actually taquitos, homemade taquitos by my wife.
Nice.
nice.
That's her choice.
We'll give you his address. So you
Yeah,
can
right.
look him up.
I want
Come
We're
on.
back on the
Homemade
run.
taquitos.
Yeah, we're
gotta get
squeezing it.
back
We
to
gotta
that, yeah.
run.
But-
Yeah.
So subscribe to 2LaneLIVE YouTube channel, 2LaneLIVE.com. We got the goods, and we'll talk to you on the phone.
We appreciate you guys. We'll see you down
See
the
you
road.
down
Thank
the
you
road.
guys for
Down the
having
Down
us.
the road.